Hello, and welcome back to Liberal versus Conservative, meeting in the middle.
Where
I
liberals suck.
I don't agree, but that's why we're trying to meet in the
Hip
middle.
parts.
I am Mackenzie, and I have my friend Dan on. He's a cop in New York, and we did a video yesterday with Tucker, featuring Tucker Carlson, where he is destroying the DACA recipient. Um, on
Destroying.
well, yeah, he basically is.
Devastating. It's not fair
Right, and that's what I
what
want to find out.
conservatives do to these people.
Trying to get to the point of if it was fair. Yesterday, I wanted to ask you, you brought up when we discussed the DACA recipient, you were telling us how you enjoyed your white privilege. And that, that's kind of a sensitive thing to say. So I was hoping that
Not
maybe
really.
today you could expand on that and explain to us what you mean.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I love my white privilege. The
Okay.
white privilege is totally a thing. It's real. It's spectacularly beautiful, and I love it.
Hmm.
White privilege. My white privilege means I have the privilege of having no one to blame for my failures other than myself. If I'm not successful, if I end up poor and homeless on the street, given hand jobs for crack, I have no one to blame other than myself, which is a very, very powerful motivator. So, no matter how hard the struggle, I have to keep going. I have no excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what the privilege is. But when you look at other groups, we're like, unfortunately, what white liberals, I'm not saying you, I'm not,
Me,
more hard
Mackenzie?
leftists, I'm not going to say you. They want to keep saying black folks are oppressed and it's hard for them to see because of racism and systematic oppression or whatever that stuff is. So when you tell kids, black kids, for example, that every problem you face is from unseen force of systematic oppression that will not allow you to succeed, so why bother? And if you do bother and you start facing adversity, it's because of this unseen force. How do
Okay.
you expect kids to ever succeed and keep pushing through if they will never see the light at the end of the tunnel or whatever? You're destroying them before they even have the opportunity to grow.
Okay.
It's immoral and wrong what white liberals do. White liberals are the worst class of human being people on the face of this fucking planet.
Okay, well,
And I'm not talking about you.
right,
Don't get me
okay.
twisted, and I'm being honest.
Yeah, well,
Like
I'm
I
going to
said, you're a
challenge
real,
you.
you may be liberal, but you're a meeting in the middle kind of a human being.
That's why I'm here. I'm
I'm
trying to
talking
meet
these
in the
white
middle.
liberals that actually the things that they've done to these people
Mm-hmm.
are unconscionable. And you have civil rights leaders, they're in on it too because they make so much money from the civil rights movement. Do you actually think they want to end racism and have to go get a job?
This is true.
Hell
Well,
no.
right now, this is where I want to meet in the middle because I do feel I understand. I think what you're saying, although it does sound privileged to be able to say it in the first place. It sounds to me like you have a white right because you have been privileged, whereas say take a black person may not have that right to own all what he's done because he has not had the privilege of getting to the place where you're at.
You're right. I've had the privilege of working in the darkest, deepest ghetto hell on earth,
Oh, well, yeah, you
where
are a
I've
cop in
seen
New York.
10-year-olds with Uzis, and
Yeah, that's true.
I've seen kids. I have had the privilege to see shit that I shouldn't have to see.
Mm-hmm.
And the bad thing is that I'm just seeing it. These kids are living it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is truly a bubble, a dome over the inner cities and the projects in this country, and they're probably around the world,
Mm-hmm.
where these kids are grown up in negativity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
Where and they're constantly told they're bashed into stuff and there are some really epic kids, and they just can't. And it's hard to beat the pressure of peer pressure,
yeah, I have to be respectful of what you do. Being a cop in New York cannot be easy. And I think what I'm hearing from you is that, the advantage of being a white individual is the influence that you have had. So maybe what's really happening, or I would be willing to hear about this and learn about this to say the black community, is that they don't have the advantage or the luxury of being taught how to succeed.
Well, no, I mean, no, there are some brilliant kids in these neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're different, but no, but look, when you're a kid,
Mm-hmm.
starting as a kid, what we become as adult is what we learn as a kid, is what we're taught,
Mm-hmm.
and what we experience, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
the kids in the inner city are going to have a different experience than a kid from the suburbs. Like I said, when I went to kindergarten through high school, I went to school with
Mm-hmm.
in a diverse area where it was black, white, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, and
Mm-hmm.
some weird kid. I could have swore he was from Mars, but whatever. I'm not judging that dude. But when I talk to those guys now, they're all successful. They all have great jobs. Their families are successful. They grew up in a place where they had to succeed.
Do you feel, Dan, that that this is a never-ending generation issue? For instance, is there if there are great abilities, and you're talking about the successful people in the minority, when does it end, and why is it maybe that some people are stuck in this? And
It's easy. That's easy because it's profitable. They
okay,
have these. Look, I mean,
aren't they just disadvantaged?
I can make it easy. Like just like as simple is that there's a look. The elite have a thing with slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get it twisted.
Okay.
They want the cheap labor,
Mm-hmm.
and what? And the companies and politicians want the votes, right?
Yeah. I think we
So
can all
we've had
agree to that.
slavery- no, we've had slavery in this country from the beginning and around the world.
Mm-hmm.
First, the elites. Remember, there was mostly poor people in America, white people, but the elites were here, came here,
Mm-hmm.
and they brought in the African slaves, right?
Yes, they did.
Then after the African slaves, they had to free them.
Which was good.
What they do? Okay, so then they pushed them into little certain communities and kind of developed them as a vote-getting machine, and then they started bringing in illegal immigrants to work the fields, where they didn't have to get paid enough a lot. They didn't have rights. You could work them to death. No one cared.
Okay, well,
So now you have them. You
Right.
have illegal immigrants. You push your
okay.
black folks into the inner cities to keep them there and down and voting Democrat.
Well, see, so my question then is,
It's easy. It's not rocket science.
I
It's
know.
the easiest thing in the world. To
But it's
understand.
almost like you're defending
You
white
tell
privilege.
a kid he can't. You tell a kid he
Right.
must, he will.
But my question is, because it could come across that you are defending white privilege, which in a way you are defending your
I am
white.
defending white
Right.
privilege.
Okay, but see, now from my side, this could be seen as, okay, well, the black people couldn't be slaves anymore, so now we're just going to take advantage of the Mexican immigrants or the other immigrants.
I'm telling you
Okay.
what the elites are doing. I'm no elite. I'm just a normal human being who loves
you're not.
everybody.
Right.
So if I'm not allowed to speak up, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
The elite are winning because they don't want me to speak out. They want you to shut me up and call me racist and say whatever. I'm glad that I had the privilege
Mm-hmm.
to not having any reasons to fail. Asians have Asian privilege. Why you no doctor yet?
Yeah. Yeah, you
Okay.
talked about that, yep.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of black families that kick their kids' asses, and they end up being calling doctor or
Yeah, I
Mr.
mean,
President.
that is true. That is true. We cannot deny that one. I
But
mean,
privilege. If you have no choice but to succeed and to keep fighting,
yeah. Hmm.
that's a powerful motivator.
So in a way, you're saying that the white privilege that is, quote unquote, could be fed by the inability to try to fight for yourself. If what you're saying is the minorities aren't really fighting for themselves and taking ownership, so that therefore you have your white privilege But to you, that means you have the right to work hard and lose or win.
See, you're still a little off, but
Okay.
This
is the question, though.
it's white privilege. What is privilege? Privilege, can be a lot of things.
Privilege to me
but
is getting extra things.
But seriously, true white privilege is having the privilege of having no one to blame other than yourself. Again,
that's a unique perspective.
If you watch the Ben Shapiro video we posted, he gives you the stats. If you do not want to be poor in this country, do not have children out of wedlock, do not drop out of high school, get a job, and you will not be poor. You know what? What is this? 7% of the poverty rate between married African Americans is 7%. The poverty between single white parents is what, like 40%? Where's the racism?
Well, and I think he did say too, if you don't have kids out of wedlock and you actually finish high school and do these certain things, whether you're white or black, you will not be in poverty forever.
Yes, because you're taking personal responsibility
and you're learning
and you're trying to do the right thing.
Right.
Look, at the end of the day, you are with one person every day of your life. You know who that is?
Myself.
Right. So you were born with yourself and you'll die with yourself.
Yeah.
This whole world experience is you have one thing to do. Take care of yourself, really. You know when you're hungry. You know when you're thirsty. You know what you need to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Your parents were supposed to give you a basic system. Because, Mackenzie, don't have a baby out of wedlock. Okay.
Right.
Graduate high school. Okay. Get a freaking job. Okay. And if you do all those things, guess what?
Yeah.
You're not permanently poor. I mean, did you grow up wealthy?
I did not. I was middle class. I was definitely mid-America. And, I live in Nevada. I was the basic, I guess, what you would call middle class. Nothing special.
But you have, like Dr. Ben Carson, you have all these people that have risen above so much that could be such role models, but the white liberals chastise them.
Right. So,
just because you can do it, don't tell anybody else they can do it. But again, if you keep telling people you have children, remember, this goes back to kids. If you tell kids that every little problem you face is because of racism, you're done. Because every time they face a struggle, have you ever faced a struggle in your life?
Quite a few. Yeah, it's happened.
Right, and you had to push through, right?
Yeah, you just know you will. You just do.
What if you didn't have to? What if you just said, I can't do it because of whatever, and...
Well, it's kind of built into my, like you said, upbringing to want to look at it, figure it out, and try to move forward.
Right, and the idea, there's kind of, there's a generational effect that I've been in those neighborhoods where people have been in those neighborhoods for generations. That's
what I'm worried about, I guess.
The idea is to starting with the kids and help get them out of there. Then from there, their families will grow up outside of there and into something better.
And outside of there is really a mindset.
Together. We got to have diverse kids grow up together.
Yeah, well, that's true too, yeah.
And see just truly how little different we are.
Why I wanted to bring this up to you today is because it really got me thinking after you discussed it yesterday, and I know we're going to link to that in here, but, what is white supremacy today? I think the term is used quite a bit. I wonder if it's the same as it used to be. Is it a way that we perceive things now? Or, because I would like to help people, I'm trying to figure out, is it because there is a group of people that are actually hurting themselves that is blowing up this term? I'm just not sure.
Sure, you have those knuckleheads out there, but there's always groups that want to. Like you could make a case for Black Power. Is some people may think Black Power or everybody coming together is a good thing, but what you can also look at it is sometimes when you go in those power structures. Let's just take President Obama. If you do the Black Power, all one thing, you put President Obama on the same level as a crackhead.
Okay.
For the simple fact is they're both viewed the same under a black power structure.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Interesting. Okay.
Because they all stay together. Because you can never rise up of it. Whereas in the white community, when they say supremacy, you know, you have the elites always telling the bottom trailer park poor white people, hey, you know, hey guys, you know, you're just one lottery win away, or hey, you know,
Right.
come on up. But you tell black folks, you know, no matter what, you will always be judged on the color of your skin and not out of class.
And who's saying that? Do you feel that it's the
technically,
elites?
white people are in the class system, and black people aren't. They're in the, I don't know, I guess the skin color system, whereas they're all viewed the same.
They're all viewed the same. Do
Whereas
you think
a
that
class system, you have upward mobility.
do you think that's an elite thing, or do you think, I mean, is there a fine line for you between the elite versus everyone else, or white supremacists versus?
Well, the elite are white liberals with a lot of money who
White
make
liberals.
the decisions of this country and the world.
Interesting how different that sounds. White liberals are the elite. When
Yeah, I mean, I don't say white. I say white liberals are racist.
Okay.
Because you're used just like the, I don't know, back in the old days, like a real white supremacy when they told white people, the normal class, hardworking, blue collar, that black folks were going to take their jobs and they better not let that happen or whatever. So then white people felt a fear of them and pushed them out. Kind of like, in a way, reverse what's happening, whereas
That's true.
black folks in a way are trying to push us out.
I think it's too bad. I think that, you know, way back in the day, I think everyone worked hard, you know, regardless of realizing what the system was at the time with slaves.
Do you know who the first self-made woman millionaire was in America?
Who is that?
It was a freed African slave lady who built a makeup empire.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Did you know you had slaves that were congressmen?
See, I don't know that because even as a white person, I don't have the privilege no one ever tells me that.
That's not privilege. That's just that they don't teach it, though.
I didn't know those facts. I didn't.
You're too busy trying to live your life like, and most people do. That's all.
Okay, that concludes part 1 of our conversation on white privilege here at Liberal versus Conservative. Please join the conversation and tune in to part 2 coming up next.